You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Hot 5 and 5 presented by Iron Skillet Sports. The Hot 5 and 5 is the 5 hottest topics you need to know about right now. So let's break it down with number 1 on the Hot 5 and 5, the reaction to what's getting ready to happen with Monday Night Football, Lions versus the Packers. This is going to be bananas because there is a bettor out there who put a $25 bet down. Now, this was something he did with BetMGM. So the way this rolls out and the way this rolls is if he wins this 16-game parlay, he will win $730,000. Wow. I don't even know what I just did with $25 yesterday, but maybe I should have put it on that. Well, okay, so the Lions are coming off a 41-33 loss to the 49ers in week 1, and Green Bay also lost 38-3 to the New Orleans Saints. So nobody really knows what's going on right now with either team. We pretty much figured the Lions are going to be bad, but the Packers can't be this bad, can they? Number 2 on the Hot 5 and 5 is the Titans. Okay, so why is it this week I decided, well, the fantasy football gods decided for me that I was going to play everybody who had Derrick Henry this week. So all the teams that I'm playing against had Derrick Henry. Okay. If you don't understand what I'm saying about Derrick Henry, then that means you're not playing fantasy. Okay. Anytime you get a player that gives you nearly 50 points or 50 and above, it's pretty much a wash for that week. But so the Seahawks were leading 24-9 at halftime. All right. It's a game that Tennessee probably thought, you know, we can get back in this, but everybody else thought it was a wash. But then the Titans came out in the second half, dominated, and Derrick Henry totaled 182 rushing yards. It's hard to even say. Before Sunday's game, the Seahawks had been 52-0, okay, when leading by 15 or more at home. Well, now they're 52-1. All right, so on that same note, the number 3 on the Hot 3 and 3 is Derek Carr and the Raiders went in and slapped up the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was not good for Pittsburgh as the Raiders traveled across town. Now, remind you, they had just had a miraculous win against the Ravens. You know, opening the stadium, coming out, everything was cool. But, Derek Carr had 382 passing yards and 2 touchdowns and was nearly unstoppable. So, for those of you probably still looking for a waiver wire quarterback, Derek Carr might be your guy. Number 4 on the Hot 5 and 5 is the Baltimore Ravens. And put it this way, the Baltimore Ravens ruined my fantasy predictions, but that's okay. That's okay. Because the meltdown by the Kansas City Chiefs was epic. With 6:50 left to play in the third quarter, the Chiefs never scored again. Never scored again. All I can say is Lamar Jackson, man, you the dude. 346 passing yards, 100, that's total yards. He had 239 passing, 107 rushing, 3 total touchdowns, 1 passing, 2 rushing. I don't know what more I can say. All I can say is this. The play of the game probably came when John Harbaugh, the coach of the Ravens, said, you know what? Let's go for it. 4th and 1. And they were on the 43 with just under a minute to play. They said, let's go for it. And they got it. And now, you have Lamar Jackson, who had not beaten Patrick Mahomes, but now is a Sunday Night Football legend. All right, so number 5 on the Hot 5 and 5 is, let's go through this really quickly. It was Injury Sunday, but not devastating, but just those little nagging injuries and those people you know who are going to get injured at some point. Carson Wentz went down with injuries to both of his ankles. Andy Dalton left the game for the Bears with a knee injury. Tua Tagovailoa he had a rib injury. If you haven't seen the hit that was put on Tua, please feel free to Google that. It was epic. Tyrod Taylor suffered a hamstring injury, probably from running around and dicing up the Browns all over the place. TJ Watt has a groin injury, and the Eagles might have lost Brandon Graham for the season. Oh, and the last injury was Taylor Lewan gets injured in the warm-ups. But that didn't stop them from going out and smacking down Seattle with a 3-point victory and messing up my fantasy picks. And therefore, I don't like you, Tennessee. That's the Hot 5 and 5. Listen, the topic du jour, what's going on right now that you need to know about in football and in all sports, is the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. Okay. So it could have really been a bad situation at Soldier Field on Sunday afternoon because you had Andy Dalton starting over Justin Fields. It was already bad that Just was not getting into the game, but then you had Andy Dalton out there trying to do his best impression of Justin Fields. I mean, it was hilarious after a while because you know that when you get older, you see guys doing certain things and you want to do it. Like, I want to run out there on the court and I want to do some things. So you had Andy Dalton and he was doing some running and he was doing some moving and coming in, that it wasn't an MCL or ACL tear. Right now, it's probably just a sprain, which is a tear anyway, but he's okay. But to double down on the foolishness, Matt Nagy said if he's okay, he's still our starting quarterback. Matt Nagy, you slay me. You silly person, you. Yeah, this is getting ridiculous. Now, as you can see, the Bears really have no plan for Justin Fields. He was probably just out there, just, hey, here's a play, see what you can do with it. He's literally playing sandlot football with no real plan in play for him. No plays that were really there for him to make. So I'm going to say this, and I'll put it to you this way. If Andy Dalton starts next week for the Bears, then I'll know it's a conspiracy and that Matt Nagy truly hates Justin Fields. Remember to look for our exclusive interview with Coach Angela Hamblin-Blakely from the region. You know who only does it the way we do it, which is the Sizzle, right here on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.